TikTok just got a lifeline. Oracle and tech giants are plotting a takeover to keep the app alive in America, while Trump and Xi hash out the details. France is about to shut down. Over 800,000 protesters are hitting the streets on Thursday over Macron's brutal austerity budget. And in India, ARM just opened the world's most advanced chip design lab in Bangalore, while a grieving father fights to clear his pilot son's name after that deadly Air India crash. From corporate boardrooms to protest lines, from birthday diplomacy to family justice, this is how power really moves. Let's break it down. Good morning. Welcome to Top of the Morning by Mint. I'm your host, Nelson John. This is your smart daily briefing on what matters. From big moves in business to headlines shaping India and the world, we cut through the noise so you start your day informed and ahead. It's Wednesday, September 17th. Let's get started. The world's most advanced computer chips, smaller than you can imagine, are being designed right here in India. ARM just opened their new office in India's Silicon Valley, Bangalore. And IT Minister Ashwini Vaishnav dropped some serious news at the inauguration on Tuesday. This facility will design 2-nanometer chips, the kind that will power tomorrow's AI servers, drones, and smartphones. Now here's why this matters. ARM becomes only the second company after Renesas hit this milestone in India. We're talking about chips so advanced they're basically the bleeding edge of technology. As we develop the semiconductor ecosystems in the country, we must go to more leading nodes, Vaishnav said, highlighting India's push beyond basic chip manufacturing. Let's break down what India is already building. Under the India Semiconductor Mission, there are 10 semiconductor units in the pipeline, 2 fabrication plants and 8 assembly units. The CG Semi plant in Gujarat's Sanand will roll out India's first homemade chip, while 2 Gujarat units are gearing up for pilot production. The numbers, well, they tell the story. 278 institutions now have world-class chip design tools, and students have already designed 28 chips. What this really means is India isn't assembling chips anymore. We're designing the future. Under ISM 2.0, the focus shifts to manufacturing the equipment that makes chips, completing the entire semiconductor stack from design to production. The talent pipeline that brought ARM here, well, that's India's real competitive edge. Here's the thing about TikTok's survival in America. It just got a lot more interesting. After 2 days of intense negotiations in Spain, a deal framework is on the table that could save TikTok from a US ban. The proposal: hand over the keys to American heavyweights Oracle, Anderson Horowitz, and Silver Lake Management. Now, what this really means is ByteDance, TikTok's Chinese parent company, would get squeezed down to less than 20% ownership. The American investors would grab the majority stake, with new outside investors controlling around 50% and existing US investors keeping roughly 30%. This isn't just corporate reshuffling, it's geopolitics in action. The deal directly responds to Biden's 2024 national security law that basically said, go American or go home. Trump and Xi Jinping are set to hash out the details this Friday, and Oracle's already positioned perfectly for this takeover. They've been running TikTok's cloud services worldwide through their multi-billion-dollar Project Texas deal, so the transition would be seamless. Let's break it down. If both presidents agree, TikTok dodges the ban bullet and keeps its 170 million American users happy. But here's what we don't know yet. Exactly how much each American investor will own. A White House official told Bloomberg that everything's under speculation until the deal's signed and sealed. Until then, TikTok's fate hangs in the balance of a Friday phone call between the two world leaders. Sometimes diplomacy comes down to a simple birthday call. US President Donald Trump rang up Prime Minister Narendra Modi on his 75th birthday eve Tuesday. And suddenly the frosty India-US trade relations got a lot warmer. Like you, I'm also fully committed to taking the India-US comprehensive and global partnership to new heights. Modi posted on X, thanking Trump while cleverly weaving in their resumed trade talks. Trump fired back on Truth Social. Just had a wonderful phone call with my friend Prime Minister Narendra Modi. He's doing a tremendous job. Now here's the thing. This personal touch just broke through weeks of tension. Trump's advisors, Peter Navarro and Scott Bessent, had been taking pot shots at India, even targeting Modi directly. The US slapped 50% tariffs on Indian goods, citing India's Russian oil purchase and Russia and Ukraine war stance. But this birthday diplomacy worked. Trade talks resumed in Delhi on Tuesday, with both sides calling them positive. What this really means is personal relationships still matter in geopolitics. Yet the tough issues remain unchanged. India is still buying Russian oil, making it Putin's second biggest customer after China. Modi is protecting Indian farmers from American agricultural imports. And Trump keeps claiming he stopped a nuclear war between India and Pakistan through trade leverage, something India flatly denies. The birthday wishes were nice, but the real test comes when negotiators sit to hash out these red lines. Personal chemistry might have restarted talks, but policy differences run deep. A 91-year-old father is fighting to clear his dead son's name. Pushkar Raj Sabharwal has written to India's Civil Aviation Ministry demanding a formal investigation into the Air India Flight 171 crash that killed 241 people in June. His son, Captain Sumit Sabharwal, was one of the two pilots on board the Boeing 787 that crashed minutes after takeoff from Ahmedabad. Now here's what's driving his anguish. Selective leaks from the preliminary investigation have spawned media speculations about his son's mental state, despite a spotless 25-year flying career. The preliminary report revealed that both engine fuel switches mysteriously moved to off position after takeoff, causing the crash. It included cockpit voice recorder fragments showing co-pilot Clive Kundar asking Captain Sabharwal why he moved the switches, with Sabharwal responding he hadn't. Now, what this really means is finger-pointing without facts. Media reports blame the pilots, suggesting Sabharwal's 15-year-old divorce and his mother's death 3 years ago drove him to suicide. The father calls this nonsense. Captain Sabharwal had operated more than 100 flights without incidents after his mother's death. He wrote, pointing out to his son's 15,600 flight hours and trainer certification. Breaking down what he wants, a court-like investigation under Rule 12, not just the current preliminary inquiry. He's demanding an independent panel with a retired Supreme Court judge, technical experts and pilot representatives. The father draws parallels to Boeing's 737 MAX crashes, where software flaws emerged only after congressional inquiry. His message is clear: transparency over speculation. France is about to grind to a halt. Trade unions are calling for a nationwide strikes on Thursday, and authorities are expecting over 800,000 people to flood the streets in what could be the biggest protest since the pension reform chaos of 2023. Here's what sparked this uprising. President Emmanuel Macron's new austerity budget designed to slash France's mounting debt. The previous Prime Minister, François Bayrou, lost a confident vote trying to push it through Parliament. Now his replacement, Sébastien Lecornu, inherits this political nightmare. The unions aren't holding back, calling the budget a horror show and urging French citizens to block everything. Roadways, railways, airports and schools will all feel the impact on Thursday. Breaking down the scale, at least 250 marches planned across the country with 80,000 police deployed to manage the crowd. Interior Minister warned of significant risks of political disorder, particularly from ultra-left groups trying to infiltrate official marches. What this really means is France is caught between crushing debt and public fury over spending cuts. Last week's smaller protests drew 200,000 people after social media calls to resist Macron's policies. Thursday's turnout could dwarf that. The French government's walking a tightrope, cutting spending to appease financial markets or face mass civil unrest. With living costs soaring and political deadlock deepening, France's streets are becoming the battleground for the country's economic future. That's all for today. Thank you for joining in. We are eagerly looking forward to our next Top of the Morning episode, which will be packed with the latest news. Until then, this is Nelson John signing off. Have a great day.